every base, but there's tech there too. And if he slows your tech, he can get an auto win. So the main is the main thing, but the thing you need to be worried about when you're just using one Warpin of Stalkers to defend is him switching from main to natural quickly, and you have to move your Stalkers before you have Blink, which I already have Blink because it's useful against Master Roach and it's useful against Mutas. But anyway, so this observer shows him going from natural to third or main to natural. Now, of course, he could take the long-ass way around, but that would give us like 45 more seconds, like basically another Warpin.
I find like what I'll do is I'll just put a pylon up there.
Oh yeah, definitely good thing to do. You know, you're gonna have an excess of mins because gas is gonna be your most important thing against mutas, as we'll go into soon. Now, if I had scouted the Spire before mutas even popped out, I would have made a couple changes. But as is, you don't even need to start with cannons. You just need a Warpin of Stalkers, and then you need to start working on your tech. And let's hit play to see if I reveal my tech. Play. I'm at 11:57.
Okay. So he's going to try and harass you with these mutas, it looks like.
Yep, as he should.
And he's sending out a Zergling Force, a very small Zergling Force, probably not going to do anything.
Yeah, not too big. That's why Protoss cannons their stuff. Whoops, accidental Guardian Shield.
Right. Alright, so here he is with the mutas, you have your Stalkers ready.
7 Stalkers, I've got cannons started, so Blink already been done, so...
Little out of position for to save this, well, obviously you're going to save the natural mutas, but you got some things. Yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah, he took out a couple workers, he damaged a bunch of the natural, took out a couple more.
So overall, he's
I have a cannon, and I have a Guardian Shield. Now let me pause right here real quick. One thing that Huck taught me that okay, this is a good pausing point. That Huck taught me, and obviously Hero does it too, and honestly any pro probably does it, but you split up your control groups. Now, obviously, you probably should just get used to splitting up control groups in general. I mean, I know I have always had 3 open. Like, if I have just Mass Gateway and Colossus, I'll put Colossus on 3 and everything else on 2.
Yeah.
And if I have Templar, I put Templar on 3 and everything else on 2. They're just the imperative unit. They're just a really important unit. But I'm thinking of switching things around so I can have one as a hotkey in situations like this. Because I split up my army and I put Stalkers in one hotkey and everything else in the other. And combined with these cannons and a Guardian Shield, and I don't think the cannon is affected by the Guardian Shield, but you know, obviously he clearly wants to target down the sentries because they're gas heavy, and he doesn't want you to use gas on other important things, which we're about to get to, if you look at the production tab. But him focusing them down will take longer because of the Guardian Shield, and the cannons will be that much more effective. So it's okay to split them up in the early stages. Now in the later stages, he's gonna go like 16 plus mutas, like 25, whatever. He's gonna go to your main, oh shit, like 16 Stalkers, and then he's gonna bounce to your third, and your third's gonna have like 5 sentries, hopefully a couple Archons, but not enough to take it. So one big thing that Hero and Huck have taught me is, and in case anyone watching doesn't know, Liquid Hero and EG Huck are 2 pro StarCraft 2 players, and they're both boss TOS. They're both Protoss players, and they both play extremely well. But back to what I was saying, you really only need a certain number of Stalkers. As the game progresses, his muta count will get bigger, and if you do well, like basically like I'm doing, like you have a Warpin, like you see the mutas coming, and you have a Warpin of Stalkers to defend the first wave. Basically, if you take no damage, basically, because he killed what, 2 workers in the main, 2 in the natural. That's no.
Yeah, he didn't do nearly enough damage. And you're pretty set on defending.
So if things are going well like that, then there's 2 things that are going to happen. One, your Stalker count is just going to gradually grow. That's going to be mainly what you're warping in, and your cannon count is going to grow. Now, I always thought that cannons were kind of useless, just because, you know, why invest in static defense if you can invest in army? But it really helps for multi-prong attacks. It really helps for mutalisks, like fastly switching between bases, and it especially helps in the base trade scenario. Now, as his flock of mutas are getting bigger, your number of cannons are getting bigger. And I used to stop at 3 or 4, but if you're getting ready to move out, 5 or 6 is even better. And if you're already at Templar tech, and you should be before you move out, honestly, unless like you've been doing extremely well and you're moving out early, you should leave a Templar as well, because the cannons, once again, will take time to kill. Like 30 mutas can kill 6 cannons, you know, but they're going to take damage, which is important. And if you get the good Psy Storms while they're killing the cannons, they'll take even more damage. So say they take a full Psystorm, like almost 80 damage. They have 50 health left. 5 are going to die from the cannons, and then you're going to have to evacuate your main, but there's no way. They're hitting your natural, which should have about 6 cannons. And say they pull back to defend, because once again, Zerg units, they're absolutely going to need every unit they can. Because, with Psystorm, and even just with well-upgraded Gateway, you're gonna dominate Mass Sling 9 times out of 10. But with his Mutas, all in the orange health, there's no way he's going to stop your push. No way. So either the 6 cannons and Templar are going to drive him out, or they're going to make your attack and his return to defend, like, his defend is going to be impossible, and your attack is going to almost always win. So that's you said
he's just playing very low economy though. Like he's still on he's only on 47.
It's because he's taking damage. He's trying to really put the hurt on me while he can. Before I really do get a critical mass of cannons. Now I only am going this in depth on cannons. Well, I mean it's a good thing to anyone watching and for you, but also because you said 3 or 4 cannons when Mutas first harass. Not going to do good. That's actually not what you want to do. You want to just start with the Warping of Stalkers. And if that's enough, then awesome. And then start with 1 or 2 cannons at a time at each base, because you can't be wasting all your mins on cannons. You can't just warp in 3 cannons all at the same time at every base, because then your gateways are going to be idle. And getting your gateway count up is very important, especially for something we're going to talk about later, which is tech switches, which Master Zergs have been doing this thing where they stay on Mutas for a very short time, and they feign a standard Muta style. They'll start with 8, go up to 12, go up to 15, as if it's playing standard. They're just gonna go mass Mutas, go mass.
Yep.
But they stop at 16, and then they go mass Roach. And it's very difficult to defend because your tech is set in non-Roach beating things. I mean, obviously Blink Stalkers are good against Roaches, but you need to keep, think if it was just mass Roach.
You need Colossus or
Mortals, or Epic Force Fields or Epic Psystorms, which are all possible but very difficult. And basically the mindset is different. It's like if you're facing a mass Roach Ling who's just massing Ling at 12 minutes, you want to keep every Stalker alive that you can, or no, actually, you want to keep every Immortal alive that you can and every Sentry alive. Stalkers are expendable. But when they have Mutalisks in the mix, Stalkers are the most important thing. And so it's like, to defend the push, you might have to sacrifice some Stalkers, but then are you really going to defend because he's going to have a decent, a middle-sized number of Mutas still. So that's very hard to deal with, and we're going to talk about that later. But for now that I'm done talking about cannons and done talking about the initial defense of the Mutalisks, I want to talk about the Dark Shrine coming up. Now, Dark Shrine, it can be replaced by anything really. It can be replaced by
Templar Archives?
No. Templar Archives is a necessity to get after what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is keeping the Mutalisks back. Even though the Mutalisks haven't done much damage, they're still going to pick off a handful of things here. They're fast, and they kill stuff fast once you get a bigger number. So they're always going to do a little bit of damage. So, the best thing is to not let the Zerg do what he wants, because imagine if the Zerg stockpiles larva and takes a 4th and a 5th at the bottom right and the middle right, or just the middle by the tower.
Instead of making 32 Zerglings.
Exactly. If he has, if he has 100 drones,
47 drones.
If he has 100 drones and starts stacking larva and just stays maxed on Massling Stalker or Massling Mutalisk, it doesn't matter how well you defeat his push.
Honestly, this guy should just be continuing with Mutalisks and droning up and taking more bases.
He's going to start droning up soon, but there's going to be a problem with taking bases. Now...
with DTs, yes.
Exactly. The Dark Shrine is the best choice by far, I think, because the Zerg is spending if they're playing the Mass Muta style, they're spending every single piece of gas and putting every single drone in every single piece of gas. I see pros take a 4th and a 5th and don't even saturate them yet. Just put 6 drones at each for the gas when they're going Mutalisk, because gas is super important. But having DTs out makes him morph Overseers, which takes some gas. Not much, but it takes some, so that's a big deal. Also, the most important thing is keeping the Mutalisks back. If I warp in DTs, which I will soon, not only can I potentially do damage if he hasn't spined and spored up yet, which he shouldn't have. His first priority is droning because he's behind still. but I can do damage, but more importantly, I can make his Mutalisks have to come back, because DTs are heavy hitters, and even if the Mutalisks don't come back and they keep harassing, he will likely have to pull his Lings back. Like just
he needs to do something. I mean,
just a Queen is not going to be able to handle
it.
Base. Just a
don't
spine,
take out a base and,
exactly. Just a spine or two is not going to be able to handle it, because like I was saying earlier, the thing that Hero. Oh, I didn't finish my point. The thing that Hero has most taught me is that you only need a certain number of stalkers. You can really stop at 16, because if you have the cannons and you're putting stuff into the more important things, then you can get those more important things up. Like you can get DTs for Archons and for Harass, and you can get Templar to start banking energy sooner. And then when your push is about to come out, you can warp in a wave of stalkers. You don't really need more than 16. And so once you get that number, you got the cannons up, you're good to go as far as defense. Unless like they start doing really well done two-prongedness. But back to the DTs, they'll have to pull something back, and if they pull the Lings back, then you don't have to be worried about two-prongedness. You can be like, okay, I can, his Mutalisks are over here, and so I can bring my Stalkers here and defend. Maybe I can expand over there, whereas Mutalisks aren't. And then, things along that nature, because the Lings can't attack because they're defending the DTs. Also, one of my favorite things my favorite functions of DTs, just in general against Zerg and Terran, but especially against Mutalisks, like super pivotal against Mutalisks, like is not so much sending them in and doing damage, but denying later bases. If you recall my best of 5 with Jordan Rushing for the in-house CSL tournament.
I don't think I watched it, but continue. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first one was a best of 3, I think. And I barely won, and it was an awesome series. And the second one was a best of 5. Spoilers, I barely won. Awesome series. But I think I was up 2-0, so I was off to a good start. And then he totally put me on tilt. He tilted the shit out of me because he picked a map that he knew would be good for a proxy hatch, and he proxy hatched in my main, and I did not see that coming. Yeah, nice. Dude. If I recall correctly, test bug. It was IC Cup.
That
GSL test bug.
Yeah,
and it has a gigantic main base. And he proxy hatched me, and it dominated me, right? But I was really patient. I was just moved things down to my natural. He was picking at my main. I finally drove him out of my main. I don't even think I lost the hatch. But I'd been stuck on 2 base, and he had been done who knows what. But because it was a best of whatever, I was like super try-hard mode. So I already was on the way to DTs. Like by the time I finally held off the pressure, my DT shrine had finished. So if I had only had the patience that I have now and had just sent a DT or 2 to patrol around the map, like I'm kind of telling you to do, I could have denied bases for a long time because his lair was very delayed. So his mobile detection was delayed. And that's the thing of DTs. They have lair. So they can have mobile detection fairly easily. But if they expand and you send a DT, you can harass it, you can make them worried, you can a lot of times pick it off if they're multiple expanding, and if you're harassing 2 of them at once. But most importantly is this function. Not only do they have to pull the Mutalisks back to sufficiently deal with multiple DT harass, but they have to pull the Overseer there too. And Mutalisks move much faster than Overseers, so the Mutalisks are going to get there and be idle.
I can't, you're cutting out.
Oh. Can you hear me? Are you good?
Yeah, I think you're good now.
Okay, sorry. Since Mutalisks are so much faster than the Overseer, the Mutalisks will go to the base to defend, and they'll have to wait for the Overseer. So their Mutalisks will not only be back not attacking you, they'll be back and idle, not doing anything for like a time, for like 20 seconds or whatever. So it's like the most important thing, because as you said before, you already know this, because you're pretty well versed in StarCraft strategy. If they go Mutalisk and they don't really do damage, then they're just going to die because Mutalisks aren't good in a straight-up engagement. So if you keep them back in that way, just try and do some harassment with your DTs, but try and keep them alive, or if you have to, warp in a couple extra DTs. Just keep them like in the bottom right base. Keep them in the corner. Like you see that, like by the left Vespene Geyser, keep it in the corner. By the middle base, keep it in the corner, or you can even keep it closer to the tower. Just to see when it goes down and move it into position. Try and keep it out of a way that an Overseer might just happen to fly. But you can really do some good pulling the Mutalisks back. And if you're hitting 2 of his bases at once and he pulls the Mutalisks back, either he's gonna have to morph multiple Overseers, or he's gonna have to wait for the Overseer to go to 1, kill it, and go to the other. And if you're good enough, like, and he does that, then you can just like